Good evening, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the Signal 50 podcast with your host, Alpha and Bravo. You're probably wondering why we still have these funny little icons on the screen. It's because, in this day and age, we can't be too careful. Being conservatives, we've already pretty much been shadow banned off of YouTube, and we're wondering what gets canceled next. Anyhow, thanks for joining us this week. We did a show on Wednesday night. We're going to do 2 shows a week now going forward. Thanks a lot for trusting us with 2 hours of your week. Bravo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderfully, although my left arm is a little sore because I had to go and get my COVID shot yesterday.
Oh.
So I know, there was 2 reasons why I went and got it. One was it was being offered to all the first responders, which I'm active in part of that. Like many of the things you can kind of figure out what we do. I also did it as a way to try and give people like a cold stop or a hard stop saying, yep, I'm immunized. I don't care. Because this nonsense with masks and this and that. And I said, no, I'm immunized. I'm done. I'm done with this. It's time to move on. Everyone, let's move on. And that's the way I'm going to look at it. And that's why I went and got it. I know then in my job is going to require it. Even though they say you have a choice and everything else, we all know where those goalposts start getting uprooted and moved back 10 yards because they decide to change their mind. So I just thought I'd cut it to the chase. And we're in that position where we need to be in a place where we can be illness-free. So that's my thought.
Myself, I'm completely done with the virtue signaling. I'm not getting the vaccine. I'm no longer wearing a mask where I'm supposed to be wearing a mask. I'm just going to do what I got to do. And you know what? Everybody can kiss my white ass.
Good for you. No, I get it. I'm just, there's other complications that go along with it, And
yeah, I get it, but nobody's going to shove a needle in my arm. Nobody's going to force me to do anything I don't want to do. And you know what? It's time for everybody to make a stand. My stand is kiss my ass.
Mm-hmm. I respect that, and that's what
I don't have to do what you tell me to do. Mm-hmm. You know what? You want to impose all sorts of restrictions. How about people who don't get the flu shot?
The problem with that, though, is, Alpha, and again, I understand where you're coming from, but they fire people at my job if they don't get the flu shot. You get fired. Done. Goodbye. See ya. So that's reality, unfortunately.
I signed no such piece of paper. Yeah.
Again, it's a draconian move, and the hospital all around us kind of guess where I work. But they said you have to. Yeah,
make it really hard to guess. Make it really hard. Make it hard for everybody out there to figure it out. Okay. Yeah. So I have no such encumbrances anymore, and you know what? I'm glad I don't, because I'm just not going to do it. I fail to see the utility in it. Anyhow, moving forward. Anyhow,
I get it.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Sunday night. It is the post-Christmas show. Everybody hung over. Everybody had their experience with their standing rib roast, I'm sure. Some good, some not so good, some mediocre results out there, and a lot of money spent on beef. So, it is what it is. So anyhow, I digress for a quick second. My sibling, whom I adore very much, he sent me a picture of this rib roast that him and his wife purchased because they were feeding 7 people. He sent me a picture of it, and I'm here to tell you that I'm pretty sure that all of the other rib roasts orbit that one. That's not a rib roast. It's a space station. It was huge. 22 pounds of rib roast.
Wow.
Just
was he feeding an army? I'm hoping
7 people.
I'm hoping I hope he blew away the imposed wherever state he's living in. I'm sure you can't have more than 3. Immediate family or 3. So come on over.
I can tell you that his oven kicked the bucket the day before Christmas here, so he had to get a replacement. So anyhow, hats off to him. I hope they had a happy holiday. I know that he listens to the program, and I thank him very much for his time. And I felt bad for him when he told me that his oven croaked. I was like, oh God. That's the worst thing ever. Anyhow, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a busy week. A lot of things
Still
that are
going.
going. It's still going. Yeah, a lot of things going on that people really aren't talking about. And I really want to talk about this thing in Nashville.
Okay.
I really want to talk about this thing in Nashville because I don't understand what the hell is going on here.
And it's not being talked about very loudly in the press or anything. And they're all quick to blame an RV that was driving through the street saying there's an explosion pending. There's an explosion pending. And then they said that the RV blew up, and then they know who it was from the remains of the driver, and unfortunately injured a police officer. I think everyone else was out of there, but the glass was all over the place. It was a mess, right? And there's not a lot of pictures of the scene from what I've seen in the press either. So, I don't know, what have you heard, Alpha? Because I'm not seeing it.
I haven't really heard a whole lot, which is really disturbing. I've seen some of the pan shots and some of the panoramic shots and some of the pullback shots. I haven't seen a lot of close-up activity, which I find to be somewhat unusual, but maybe not so much. I don't know. Hard to say. Whatever the hell happened there was huge. It was a very large device.
Large enough to take out the block, kind of thing.
Yeah, it looked like it looked like the overpressure was unbelievable. My understanding, there's 40 some buildings in the area that are completely destroyed. It's somewhat incredible to me that they're not reporting more loss of life. Something doesn't smell quite right. So,
just so we understand, and everyone is familiar with the pressure cooker bomb that went off in Boston. It was unfortunate. The terrorist is hopefully going to get put to death soon. I don't know where he's at with that, but Saranoff brothers, remember that? That took out a building size, like in glass. I don't know if the glass was broken as much. The people that were around it, of course, were injured and lost limbs. But in terms of like massive glass breaking and everything else, that wasn't the case. And it was ground level.
It was a fairly low brisant explosive contained in a pressure vessel. There's a lot of physics involved in that, and what really pisses me off the most is they set that off on the apron of Engine 33 and Ladder 15 on Boylston Street. So you know what?
So we have that understanding.
That guy can't ride the needle fast enough. They defiled a place that I hold near and dear to my heart. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah. So that was terrible. And then when you compare the explosion that occurred in Nashville, the concussion was enough to break all kinds of windows and all kinds of damage to almost a city block. Is that my understanding? Just so we have some perspective of where we're at with this.
If you look at some of the panoramic shots, the scene is. It's absolutely devastating. And I cannot believe that we're not talking about this.
So imagine the horror, when this explosion goes off, and no one's talking about what was the main target of that area. And this is from the populist press, again, not from the mainstream media. So we here at the Signal 50 podcast go away from the mainstream media because they're telling you a story, not the story. This one came up. I wanted to share with everyone that this is a rumor. Again, we're only going by what we're seeing, and it makes a lot of sense based on the physics that Alpha was talking about. There was a rumor that this was a missile strike, and the target was the AT&T NSA spy hub. And from the article itself, which is linked to the populist.press, it was basically, I'll take this through everyone really quick. This Nashville explosion was actually a missile strike. And again, this is for you to decide. You make up your own minds. We're just presenting the information. We're not saying this is what it was. But of course, this is not. If this went on to Twitter, would never find it. So you can see the explosion happened in this downtown area. They were able to find, and what it says here is we now have video evidence. Incoming missile initiated the explosion in Nashville. The following skyline video is embedded below. shows quite clearly an incoming missile trail immediately before the explosion. We also know the location, which was blurred out by Google Street Maps, housed the AT&T NSA voice over IP router complex, which allows the NSA to spy on all phone conversations and phone texts or anyone using the AT&T network. The Intercept article, The Wiretap Rooms, explained the existence of a hidden NSA spy hub all across America. So these things are all over the place. Former owner of the building is reportedly Cerebus Capital, who is tied to Wagazobozen, I can't say his name, which acquired some ownership of Dominion voting systems. Here we go. Various internet analysts say the blast appears to have been intended to halt a Dominion voting machines audit that has been about to take place in the building as well, although that has not yet been confirmed. Now, Alpha, I don't know about you, but this sounds like it makes more sense than some guy in an RV driving down the street saying, "Get out, we're all going to die," and blow up.
I don't know. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah. So just
right,
to go,
so wait a
keep
minute.
going here for a second.
So what we're trying to understand here is that some kind of military ordnance, whether it be a guided missile or some kind of GPS guided JDAM type bomb, was
you mean
dropped,
like a Buster bomber, a Buster?
Well, some kind of a
bunker
large,
buster. Yeah.
well, some kind of a large gravity-borne guided device with several hundred kilos of explosive in it. Was used by, these things don't grow on trees. And the last time I checked, Antifa or white nationalists or neo-Nazis don't have bombers or fighters, right? So
No.
what they're trying to tell us here is, in this article, and I'm having a tough time with this, is that the military was involved in this. So tell me again how this makes any sense. I'm not sure I buy it.
Well, according to the article, again, this is the article is found on Natural News, Defending Health, Life, and Liberty. Again, it's a website. Everyone has again, you decide. I'm not telling you one way or the other. Mike Adams on December 26th. One other thing they say in the article is, and I believe this to be true, no matter what the motive, you can rest assured the media will find some white conservative gun owner to blame for everything, as that's always their propaganda narrative. Now, in the article, and if you are listening to us on a podcast, I'll describe this to you. The following shots from the video below show the incoming missile trail, meaning that there was a military operation and the missile was fired from an aircraft. And it shows a contrail in the area of the building. And there's about a second later, the trail is disappearing from top to bottom, indicating the missile is moving from sky to ground. And then what ends up happening is finally there's a moment later the explosion takes place. Now, again, you can see this for yourself. You look for it yourself and find out. Here's a video that shows this, that you know where you're looking at it. And I have it queued up right here, so I'll just let it play. So there's someone talking in the background, but basically what ends up happening is there's a contrail right in here. I'm just going to take it back here. See that, Alpha? I don't know about you. That contrail comes in before the explosion. Now, if the explosion occurred and you see that contrail coming in, going out, that's one thing. But the video is pretty clear. Again, you decide. I'm just shaking my head. They're not really talking about it.
So from my functional area of somewhat expertise, what I would say, looking at something like that, is, if that is the case. Now, I'm not saying it is. I don't know about the veracity of this video. I don't know if it was doctored. I don't know anything about it.
Correct. No, again, that is a very good critical appraisal of this story
Right.
and what we do here on the Signal 50 podcast. We
Just
are
the truth.
the truth. We're giving the hard truth. You're
Okay,
right.
so for this to... Okay, that was a big damn explosion.
That is a big explosion.
It's a big explosion. That little tiny contrail just showing up in the last few seconds before contact would indicate to me that that was not a large bit of ordnance.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a piece of ordnance, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a missile bomb, whatever. I would have to tell you that this may be the majority or the bulk of the energetic material might have been in that RV.
Mm-hmm.
And that RV was the target.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that could be the case. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not doing the forensic analysis.
Mm-hmm.
What I would have to tell you is I would want to see the chemical breakdown of the explosives that were used. That's going to tell you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to look at the damage assessment myself to, not everybody else knows this out there, but some of us have a lot of experience with that. I would need to see the damage assessment. I would have to look at the chemistry, and I would have to sit there and stare at it for a couple of days just to figure it out. Okay.
Either which none of us are authorized to do, nor are we allowed to go there. So
nope,
that's not our job.
That's not our job. Not anymore. We're not doing that anymore.
That's right.
I may have been called on once or twice to do some forensic stuff on some other things, and I've yet to be wrong, but I'm not going to have the chance to analyze this one.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, that's what's out there. You have the story from the mainstream media, and you have some questionable evidence. Again, we don't know where this video really came from or not.
Let's call it anecdotal.
Anecdotal. Who knows?
Well, who knows?
But
exactly.
In this day and age, it doesn't hurt to say what else, or could be, or what possibles are there. There is something to correlate. And again, this was an explosion, and any time there's a terrorist act, which this would be considered, I'm presuming,
it's very curious.
they have a no-fly zone and a what they call a SIGMET. All airmen have to be aware of this. If you fly over that area, they're going to shoot you down.
So there's a TFR.
Yeah.
There's a TFR.
Temporary flight restriction.
Temporary flight restriction that was placed over the area, which some people are saying is part of a conspiracy, which I'm going to say as an FAA licensed person.
Mm-hmm. And I am too. Just so everyone knows.
Right. That is not an unusual thing when something like this might happen.
Correct.
Because of the I would absolutely guarantee you that DOD has got drones overhead looking for fragments and bits and pieces, doing all sorts of forensics with maybe Reapers or Global Hawks at the 50, 60,000 foot level, using their high resolution cameras and their thermal to pick up on what may or may not be scattered about, to look at the damage assessment, to do their assessment as well. So they don't want anybody flying in the way of that. That is a high ceiling, and in the low ceiling, this is probably Class B airspace to begin with.
It's because it's Nashville and it's a big airport.
That's right. B for big. Class B airspace. Class
and
B
isn't
for big.
FedEx and UPS around there somewhere?
Nashville. Yeah, absolutely. They're in Nashville, and Louisville, Kentucky are their two big hubs.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, it doesn't surprise me that there's a TFR. Mm-hmm. That's exactly the playbook there. That's what I would do. The entire country was under a TFR after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't surprise me. They don't want anybody flying drones around, doing anything to interfere with an investigation, because I'm sure there's helicopters and drones and all sorts of other surveillance type equipment being used in the area. So they want to keep that airspace clear.
Sure.
Makes sense.
For everyone who's listening to us, especially on Rumble and our podcast, we present it and you decide. And the story can be found on the Populous Press. And you
think for yourself.
And think for yourself. I'm just putting it out there. I don't believe anything that the lamestream media tells me right now, just because I can't trust them.
No, I can't.
So
I can't believe it either.
That's the first story we want to talk about, because there was a bombing, and it's sad. It was on Christmas, and someone had to go, taking away everyone's happiness, and some kind of temporary stop from all the madness going on. Just have some time with family, the best you could do it, that you're comfortable with, and this nonsense had to start up. But they're not really talking about it.
No, they're not talking about it. And you know what? The Nashville PD, the people that were there on the scene, can you imagine their horror? Can you imagine being a first responder in the area and hearing that loudspeaker go off on that RV, saying there's a bomb going to go off, everybody evacuate the area? Well, what would you do? Can you imagine the utter terror and panic that you would be going through right now if you were one of those people?
So let me get this straight. So there was an RV that was going down the road with a loudspeaker.
No, it parked. Oh. It was parked.
It was parked.
Yes.
And it was saying, get out of here, get clear. It's going to blow up.
Yeah, none of this makes any sense to me.
So let's just follow this through its progression. And again, you out there, you tell us if we're crazy too. I just want to run this because I need to understand it. Get away. It's going to blow up. Does this RV have some kind of radio capability if this was a military operation and could get through the fire? I don't know. Anyway, then it makes more sense that why would a terrorist then warn everyone to get out of the area, then blow it up?
They were looking to do damage to something, not somebody.
Okay. So that may be the motive. I mean, that, again, we're not investigating this. I'm just asking because I want to know.
I'm going to look side-eyed at every delivery truck, every U-Haul, every Ryder truck, every RV that might be parked in a residential or city area now going forward. So let me tell you something. Everybody out there, we have always maintained, or I have always maintained on this program, we that things in general, and I don't know what this is, so don't make any mistakes. I don't have any special insight here. We have always maintained that things are going to get interesting, and not in a good way. So situational awareness, keep your head on a swivel. Watch your surroundings, watch the people, places, and the things that they do. Watch for parked vehicles, watch for abandoned vehicles, watch for things that don't look like they belong. Watch for unattended packages. Look out. I think that this is going to be the first in a series of events like this. If I had to guess. I think there's a group of people out there that want to do chaos. And this may be part of it, and it may not be. I don't know the answer to the question. All I'm saying is, as a normal, everyday person, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the people you're near, be aware of who's parked where or what, and I would minimize any kind of exposure to uncomfortable situations. If the hair on the back of your neck is standing up, there's a reason.
If you feel uncomfortable, act on it. Get out of there.
Get out. Leave. Your best weapon is your feet, your sneakers. Now move it. Get out. Hard cover. There's a difference between concealment and cover. Concealment just hides you. Cover protects you. Okay. So just be cautious out there. Okay. I don't know what's going on, and until anybody gets a handle on this thing, this may not be an isolated incident.
Well said, my friend. Well said, Alpha. I can't agree with you more on that one. So moving on, the reason why this stuff may be occurring or why it's happening is Sidney Powell just came out with a 270-page report detailing the hacking and the alleged election fraud and hacking. Yeah, there was hacking in this, where the details are in an available link here on this article, which is found on Trending Politics, again, populist.press. And they go through talking about what happened. And here's a table of contents. You can just briefly look at it. There's a lot of redacted areas in here because there's like all kinds of stuff that us lay people should know about. But in the beginning part of the Iranian Advanced Persistent Threat Actor identified obtaining voter registration data. Okay.
Oh.
So the Iranians are involved. I wonder why. Because they want their money because President Trump took it away. They want more money and Biden will give it to them. So there's motive right there, people. And again, is this being mentioned in the mainstream media? I don't think so.
I don't watch the media anymore.
I don't.
I'm off. We used to have, it used to be a Fox News household here, 24/7, 365. Boy, those days are over.
And their viewership went down 40%. No one's watching them anymore. I'm not watching them anymore. The only person that's here, and I wish he could tell me more about it, Delta. He's not able to join us this evening. I hope all is well. But he still watches it. I won't watch it anymore. I refuse because it's becoming apparently clear after I was watching it that night on the election stream. Well, I was watching it the last time, and they didn't report when they all of a sudden said, Arizona's in Biden's pocket. I'm like, why? So they're on it too. They're in on it too. Screw them.
Some of the precincts are reporting, and we're calling it for Biden.
What? You're doing what?
Wallace, what did you say?
What you talking about, Willis?
Ich ein Minuten, bitte. Wait a minute. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. My girl, Sidney Powell.
Sidney Powell does it again. Hey, let me tell you something. And this is kind of a related thing I want to talk about real quick. Does anyone out there who's listening to us, and we thank you that you do, wonder why everything that's brought up is downplayed, made to sound erroneous and crazy, and no one is responding to do it? Like, for instance, all this report right here. You think the FBI would be on top of this? No, they're not. You think the senators would be doing their job and demanding investigations? No, they're not. They're all telling President Trump to drop it, to stop it, to get out. And the courts, again, are clear as day. They just dropped the idea of, the courts refused to listen to the Arizona case. The courts had to be pressured. This is the Supreme Court, where President Trump, we all know, has standing. And talking about the Pennsylvania case, it was docketed for after the inauguration, and they did come out and say they're going to listen to it beforehand. But does anyone have any confidence or faith that they're going to stand up and do what's right and follow the Constitution? I don't know. Roberts is there's reports out there that Roberts has something hanging over his head, and it's not good. And I'm not sure,
No, there's a whole lot of rumors about Roberts out there.
But again, I'm not going to talk about him because they're not confirmed, and he has every right to be innocent until proven guilty. But he's acting like he's guilty. I don't know about you, but he's not acting like he has something to hide. That's what he's acting like, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
I agree.
So anyway, that's
well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's throw a little wood on the fire here. Lynn Wood, actually.
Yes, Lynn.
Lynn Wood, the world famous defamation attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I have a source who keeps an eye on things, codenamed CB, Charlie Baker.
Mm-hmm.
This individual follows Lynn Wood on Twitter, and apparently yesterday and the day before, Lynn Wood went on an absolute tear, just pointing fingers and making accusations. You have to remember that Lynn Wood is like the foremost defamation attorney in the entire universe, right?
That's correct.
So he's not going to say anything unless he can back it up. So there are some problems out there. If Lynn Wood is shooting his mouth off about people, you better believe that there's a problem somewhere.
That's right. Yep.
And thank you, CB, for keeping an eye on that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
So, again, where is everyone? Why are they all trying to rush this along? Why do they want an incompetent boob to go into the Oval Office? His other, AKA Biden, blows me away when there were 70-something million who voted for the one that we like in the office, who's doing a great job, and that's President Trump.
Yeah, probably more like 100 million. Well, yeah. I think we all know the reason why. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why is because all of these politicians, these career politicians, have been doing dirt for so long. The jig is up, and he promised to drain the swamp, and I think he was getting a little too close. The heat was too high, and they got to get rid of this guy. They got to get rid of Trump because they're all
Mhm.
going to go to jail. But anyhow,
And I think not to, because that was a great lead in, Alpha. I think the first person that should go to jail is this guy, Governor Kemp. You, my not so friend, Kemp, you are making deals with the Chinese, and 2 weeks later, after you met with the People's Republic of China Consul General, then signs $107 million contract to Dominion. Someone want to tell me his pockets aren't lined? Do you look at his actions? Actions speak louder than words. And you can explain to me, Alpha, why on this God's green earth with the crap that's going on, you have videotape of people stuffing the ballot box, literally, and putting it through the counters. It just drives me crazy.
Hey, listen, slow down. I'm just a dumbass, okay? I'm just a dumbass, regular guy. If you gave me carte blanche in about a week, the first thing I would do is I would subpoena all of his bank records. I would crawl through his finances, his family's finances, his associates' finances, and then I would start following the money. And then I would hem all of these people up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you better believe that these assholes get elected to a $170,000 a year job, and they're all multimillionaires, and I'd really like to know why.
And that is something that is the underlying the tide as to why this is all going on. This comes from the American Greatness. This was in December 8th, and this was sent out as a parlay recently, and it just is like a light bulb going off over the top of my head. Where is all this money coming from? And you have I don't have a lot of confidence that the rest of Congress, including senators and Congress, men and women, are going to be doing their job when it comes to making sure that this election is fair and transparent. It's far from transparent. There's nothing here to see here because they don't want us to see it. So there's that story to get you all upset after Christmas.
Ugh.
I don't know what else can you say? We're gonna, January 6th is coming, and they're calling all patriots to come on down to Washington D.C. And I can't make it, nor I kind of get a sick feeling about it. But I hope there's enough people there where it doesn't get to be nasty, and you're going to see a huge crowd of people down there because that's the day when they open up the electoral ballots and they count them. And you don't see, this is someone you don't see very much, Alpha, and that's Vice President Pence. And he's an honorable man, and I have no doubt that he's going to do what needs to get done. And I'm hoping that he doesn't have to do that part because every single cotton-picking congressperson and senator gets up there and says this election was wrong. We're not certifying this state, this state, this state, this state, this state.
We're going to have to see what happens. I've lost a lot of faith in the right thing being done in Washington D.C. by anybody. Everybody, okay, it's like the old New York City, right? The gangs of New York. Everybody pays, everybody owes.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is everybody pays, everybody owes, and guess who pays in the end? We do. Our will is not being done. We are not being represented properly. We're not being represented at all. And these people have just taken it a step too far. It's just absolutely disgusting. And I for one have had enough. And we're gonna have to see what happens on January 6th. I'm not too hopeful.
Yeah, I get it. I'm who knows? We have to see. And January 6th is a Wednesday.
Right.
And I'm going to make sure I take it off my day from work, and then we'll talk about it that Wednesday night. Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot to talk about. Anyway.
I'm gonna stay home and I'm gonna reminisce over my firearms inability to swim because they were all lost in an unfortunate boating accident. So I'll be.
Meanwhile, they're going to be under the floor.
I'll be lamenting their loss. Anyhow, moving on. So,
Yep.
hey, listen, we're going to have to keep an eye on January 6th and see if Pence and the rest of the crew, they do the right thing. I'm not going to count on it, because after all, politicians are only there really to serve themselves. We've learned that time and time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointing. And the only, Ron DeSantis out there, he's a patriot and a hero. And Kirsty Noem from South Dakota, their states are kicking ass and everybody else is dying. And everybody's locked down. Everybody that's locked down is bleeding and hemorrhaging. All these states, the North Dakotas, or South Dakota and Florida. Everybody picks on Florida. Oh, people are dying in Florida. No, they're not. They're just not. Not
and they're
at
doing
all.
well. And they're doing really well.
They're doing well. There's no masks. There's no more shutdowns. There's no more bullshit. And they're doing just fine. North Dakota's or South Dakota's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're just going to live our lives up here. It's just fine. Just stay away. And they're doing fine. And I got into an argument with some woman named Karen the other day.
Karen.
About all the people that are dying and whatnot, and I was standing outside a public place, and it just so happens that there was an urgent care like 10 feet behind me, and I walked over to the window and I started pointing at the window, poking at it. I'm like, show me all the people lined up that are sick in there. There aren't any. The place was deserted.
Yep.
And she's yelling at me for not wearing a mask while I'm out on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Long story short, does anybody else out there know what Kishmir and Tuchus means?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. So anyhow, that being said, let's move it along.
Very good, sir. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian.
All right.
Bravo.
So let's talk a little bit about as we have no faith or confidence in the Congress in doing their job. We have a little bit of light and a silver lining here. And that is that Nancy Pelosi, who's looking to get reelected as Speaker, may not do it. And they're going to blame COVID on it, which I think is fine. They can blame whatever they want, her incompetence. But basically, she's already facing, let me just bring this up for everyone to follow along. Again, this is from The Hill. And
which has turned into another left-wing rag.
Yep. That's true.
After John Solomon bailed out of there, it's just a piece of dreck. It's garbage.
And you can follow Mr. Solomon over on Just the News. Outstanding source for information.
Yeah, the dude is a warrior.
He is. But basically, in this story here, Pelosi is already facing a much slimmer majority. And I did find out, just for our viewers here, and also for our listeners, this is the numbers that we have right now. 222 to 211, and she needs 218 votes. So if she loses 4 votes, well, she can lose 4 votes. I'm sorry, she can lose 4 votes and still get 218. I don't know if people are really ready to back her. I don't see it. But there's 211 Republicans. And there's still a little space here. There's still some open seats here that they have to figure out what's wrong.
Well, I think there are some Democrats out there that smell their own blood in the water, and they are going to moderate a little bit after the election, because I think that they see what's going on. So it should be interesting. I'd love to see Nasty Nancy lose her spot.
She should. She's not looking out for anything.
She
purposefully delayed the money that many Americans need desperately, and she's going to give them $600. Meanwhile, we're going to go fund the entire rest of the world with crap, so that money can come back and fund those stupid cities that didn't know how to watch their wallet and follow a budget.
It's all about unfunded pension liabilities also, okay?
Yep.
I was doing a little bit of math, and the county where I used to live in New York, they got about there are 62 counties in the state of New York.
Yep.
62 or 67? 62, I think.
63, 2, whatever.
Something like that. It doesn't matter. My county where I used to live is about $2 billion in the hole with unfunded liability. So multiply that, and let's see how that works out. But anyhow, moving along, we're at 40 minutes. We got 20 minutes, and there's something that really needs to be discussed. And I was talking to a good friend, and it's something that everybody's really overlooked. and it's really something that needs to be fleshed out. Tomorrow morning, which is Monday, I'm going to take the pooch for a stroll first thing in the morning before the recycling truck comes, okay? And I have always said that you can tell a lot about what's going on by checking out people's recycling bins. Booze bottles, beer cans, wine boxes, wine bottles, etc., okay? Does anybody out there think it was a mistake that this big press to legalize marijuana all over the place? To make possibly a dependent and more compliant populace for what's going to happen?
Oh, I am a 1,000% agreement with you. There's a huge reason why this all of a sudden is out there. And
why would they do that?
Well, I do have some information here. One of the reasons for this to occur is that people are trying to figure out a way to cope with COVID and these lockdowns. They're basically telling people you can't go out, you can't do anything, you can't see family. Remember, humans are social beings. We need contact. We need to be able to talk to people. And this comes out of the University of Michigan. And some universities still know what the hell to do with their research dollars. But more adults report significant life disruptions since pandemic, right? So they're engaging in social distancing and they're engaging in lockdowns and all this other stuff that they're doing supposedly. But what are you going to do with all this extra time? And we notice that alcohol goes up and marijuana use goes up, drug use goes up, and not just marijuana. People think marijuana is a harmless drug. I don't know about your thoughts about it, Alpha, but it does cause brain cell problems and thinking problems, cognitive issues. But again, when you talk about narcotic abuse, people that abuse heroin or controlled substances like your pills, like Lortab or Percocet, that can make you stop breathing. And we're seeing a huge increase in the number of emergency responses to people that overdose on this stuff because there's nothing to do except sit there and wallow in it. And not to mention obesity's up. So there you have it. I mean, it's there's your factual background.
Well, if you're asking me what I feel about marijuana, I feel like this. Marijuana and alcohol are both not good, okay? But I'm a firm believer that if you want to smoke a joint and you're in the safety of your own home, you are not going to drive, you are going to be responsible about it, and you're not going to make a living out of sitting there smoking marijuana, by all means, if that's how you have to relax and chill and get your head off of things once in a while, just like you have a cocktail once in a while or you have two cocktails once in a while, by all means do it. But when you are making it a habit, it becomes problematic. Everything in moderation. And marijuana does have some clinical benefit in certain limited aspects. Okay? Certain very limited aspects. I can understand with people with crushing anxiety or people with crushing depression or some of those things that are normally treated with psychopathic medications or psychotropic medications that are significantly potentially more dangerous. It may be a valid treatment. I am not a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, okay? And I'm not a pharmacist, et cetera, et cetera. But there are certain instances where I feel marijuana may be beneficial. Certain types of pain management, certain medical conditions, certain replacements for significantly more dangerous prescription medications. I think that there's valid uses there. And even recreationally, if the problem is, it's a slippery slope, okay? I firmly believe that if you're an adult and you're responsible and you want to have a joint, and you want to be sociable and laugh and just smoke a joint and not go anywhere, not get behind the wheel of a car, by all means, go ahead and do that.
And that goes with alcohol, and that goes...
It's the same thing with alcohol. Right?
I would not recommend it for the narcotics or heroin, just so you're on.
Oh no, that's probably bad, right?
That's bad.
But my understanding is January 1st in Oregon, heroin has become legal.
That's going to be another interesting question. It's Schedule 1, DEA enforcement, Drug Enforcement Agency Schedule 1, meaning it's illegal for anyone to have it. I don't know how you're going to get past that federal level. That's dangerous stuff. It's highly addictive. I mean, it's highly addictive. Once you start down that road,
well, wait a minute.
Forget
I've never known anybody that thought that trying heroin was a good idea. Okay.
However,
let's go ahead and try some crack and see how that works out.
However, I will say that in moderation and everything, but there is something also known as a gateway drug.
That's right.
And you mentioned the keyword adult, and I agree with you. When you start talking about adolescence, and you start talking about kids, and you talk about young adults, remember, our brain doesn't fully function and form until 26.
I'm still waiting.
But it does have detrimental effects on adolescents.
Absolutely.
And they're by no means should be touching this stuff, let alone heroin or anything else. So it is again, you mentioned slippery slope. I agree. If you're in your home, you're an adult and you're just, chilling, or it does have some benefits with cancer patients that are on chemo.
That's right. It's a great antiemetic. Okay.
That's correct. It makes you very hungry.
And it makes you very hungry. And
they need
people,
energy.
That's right.
Fight this stuff off.
People that are on intensive chemotherapy need to have that hunger, and they need to be able to hold food down. Mm-hmm. And there are certain medical conditions out there where the THC, which is the active ingredient in marijuana, the psychedelic or the active ingredient, where it is beneficial. Okay. And recreationally, listen, if you want to go smoke a joint in your house and your job says it's okay and you're responsible about it and you're not going to get behind the wheel of a car, the libertarian in me says, by all means, go ahead and do it if you want to be responsible about it. But the minute you step out of that box of responsibility, your ass is grass.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just like alcohol, just like anything else.
Sure.
Okay? And that's up to you. It is a gateway drug, and it can lead to further problems down the road. But the widespread use, like I walk out of my house on Monday mornings of a work week, and all I can smell at 7 o'clock in the morning while I'm walking my dog is marijuana throughout the entire neighborhood. People are up on a Monday morning, a work week, and all they're doing is sitting out on their decks, smoking pot. It's insanity. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
So when you're walking and taking the dog out, what would be your normal count, or would you say?
You can't count. All you do is smell. The entire neighborhood just reeks of marijuana. It reeks. Terrible. So
before we head off, I wanted to bring something up here that they're talking. This is Business Insider. So they're talking about that President Trump just signed the bipartisan coronavirus relief bill after calling on Congress to approve $2,000 in stimulus checks.
I don't know about that. I don't know that he signed it. I think that he's come to some agreement with maybe Congress about it. I don't know that it's been signed yet. I'm not sure it can be signed right now.
So it says here on Sunday, which is today, and this is from, this is MSN News. So the Business Insider, you signed it. And
what did they take out of it?
I don't think they took anything out of it.
Crap.
So, actually, the only thing I see is the current level $600 per person to $2,000.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's table this until we have a better understanding of what happened. This is kind of breaking news as we're doing the podcast here, and we're 49 minutes into it. This just was released. I saw it as well. Why don't we just go ahead and give everybody a chance to digest what just happened because we may be just kind of going off the cuff, but we'll have to see what happened here.
You have to wait 24 hours for it to kick
72.
in, right?
Yeah, let's wait.
72.
Let's wait.
So we'll
days.
table. I like that. We'll table. Sir, motion to table. There you go.
Tabled.
All right. So with that being said.
Well, with that being said, it is a Sunday night, and it's New Year's week now. We're on second week of holidays, and we hope your Christmas went well. And we do hope that you were able to spend time with your families as best you could. And we do thank you for taking the time out of your work week to give us a listen, and thanks a lot. And I want to give a shout out. There's a group of people that I'm associated with. I do a live stream with these guys, sometimes a couple times a week for an hour or 2 hours a week, and we talk about certain different things, competition shooting, long range shooting, and these are a great bunch of people. And generally speaking, we have a very large following that comes along with us. The other night, there are a number of people that are involved with this group of people. They're out of hundreds that are listening to us, and I really wanted to thank you guys for listening to us. You all know who you are. Please spread the word. Thank you. We're going to have to check our demographics. We're going to have to check our numbers, but I think we're doing pretty well, and we really appreciate that.
For two guys that started this out in September with an idea that normally we'd have these conversations on the phone, and we would just kind of spitball it to ourselves, and being able to share it with all those people on Rumble and on Parler. And just to give you an idea there, Alpha, I now have almost 570 followers on Parler. And that was unheard of on Twitter, and that's why I dropped it. And Facebook, you would get bombarded every single time you try to raise something that seemed to make sense. Even in this venue, we have very respectful people that follow what we say. They check it out for themselves. They let us know if they're right or wrong. That's fine. That's what we're here for. But we're looking at this from the hard truth point of view.
Right.
And that's what we do. And we appreciate everyone being out there with us.
Well, what we would like to do is encourage other people to do the same thing. Okay?
That's true.
This is not about us. We don't care about me. I care about people having productive conversations about the current events that are happening around them without the veneer of the mainstream media.
Correct.
Just have that conversation between yourself and your friends. Reach out, have these conversations. And just make sense of it, and don't engage in hyperbole. Don't engage in the guessing game. Stick to the facts. The facts are always the truth. The facts will always bear out your position at the end of the day, right? And in the law, I guess the facts are absolute. The truth is absolute. So on that note, we've got some new nifty outro music that Bravo has put together, and it's got their trailer, so I don't have to go through all the
that
things
one
again.
You still we got some feedback, and the vocals were I'm not James Earl Jones as much as I'd love to be. It was an idea that I had that we ran with it, and it didn't quite work, but the new intro without the vocals, just the music, is very catchy, and that's what we're looking for. So,
listen, let me tell you something. The audio book of my biography is going to be narrated by Morgan Freeman. I'm just saying.
But in terms of, we want to make sure that everyone knows about POF-USA, and you can talk about that.
Oh, very good. POF USA. Yeah, there you go. Good for you. Good for you, my former liberal friend.
I'm a recovering liberal, I promise.
That's absolutely correct. POF-USA.com, makers of the finest AR-15 style rifles anywhere in the universe. Trust me, if the aliens could have them, they would. POF-USA.com. Give them a look. They're patriots. They're doing great things for people. They're manufacturing at beyond capacity right now. So if you want to get in on that, you might want to give them a look. POF-USA.com, made in Chandler, Arizona, for patriots by patriots, all American, all the time. And on that note, I think that we're going to wrap it up for the night and say,
that's right.
Have a good week.
And just for everyone to remember, please do check us out if you need to be on the run. You can't sit in front of the computer and watch Rumble. You can bring us with you as a podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We also ask that you follow us on Parler. We've dumped Twitter and we've dumped Facebook, so we're not even going there. We use YouTube here. If you can give us a like and share, we are being shadow banned. So
yes, we are actually being banned. We are actually being shadow banned on YouTube. If you are subscribed to us, you will most probably not get the notification that we are going live.
No. So yeah, the biggest thing is to check the site. If you have it, you can find it. But that's okay. We're on Rumble and we're doing very well. But also be sure to email us, info@signal50.com. info@signal50.com. Just give us an email, let us know how we're doing. And with that being said, we'll talk to you again Wednesday before the new year. And Alpha, thank you very much. We'll hopefully have Delta back. He had some prior engagements he couldn't get away from, but we're wishing him all the best too. So everyone, take care, everyone. See ya.
Well, before we go, I'd like to thank our soldiers, sailors, and airmen for their service 24/7, 365, protecting us. Really appreciate it. Tough time of year for our first responders, so keep your eyes out for the police, fire, and EMS personnel that are out there. And drive carefully on the highways. It's a slick time of year. We get snow, we get freezing rain, we get all the crap you see. We see warning lights. You see emergency responders at the side of the road. Slow down, switch lanes. Give them room to work, people. Some places it's the law. Other places it's common sense. And where it's not either, start exercising some common sense. We don't need any more tragedies. These guys don't get paid nearly enough to take the risks they take. So thank you very much and really appreciate it. And on that note, have a great week.
Bye-bye.